with Mr. Prokos, and we're going to interview him before he leaves.
Very sad.
Very sad. Okay, so our first question is, why did you want to become a teacher in the first place?
So a couple of reasons. One, I had teachers who really inspired me when I was in high school, particularly my sophomore teacher, Mr. Partika, and my junior teacher, Mr. Ruffalo. And actually, when I was a sophomore, someone just told me I would be good at it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that works.
And I don't know, sometimes I feel like you just need someone to tell you you'd be good at something for you to actually consider as an option.
For sure, yeah, I get that. Okay, and then how long have you been at Rosary?
This is my 7th year.
7th year.
My Hogwarts.
Oh, lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Okay, and what classes have you taught while working here?
So every year I taught Junior American Lit.
Mm-hmm.
From the beginning to the end. I taught Honor Sophomore World Lit. I taught AP Lit. I taught a class called Writing for an Audience, which is like a creative writing journalism hybrid. I taught speech. And those are the big ones.
And then out of like all of those ones, what was like your favorite one to teach? Maybe because like people you'd have, like the books you'd read or something?
That's a really good question. It's mostly like for the people, you go into it thinking it's about to be the books, but like the books are all fine. I like them all for different reasons. AP Lit is really cool to see like the finished product of like the Rosary English student, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year, I like sophomores because they're still like the strife of junior year hasn't hit them yet, so they're still very like
for sure.
They're still very doe-eyed.
Yeah.
So that's enjoyable. But honestly, junior year, because of like how people like perceive that year to be really hard, it's fun to sort of like help them pass through that and realize that like they're okay and they survived. And at the end, I feel like that's where you see actually the most growth is in that junior year. So that one, American Lit, is probably my favorite.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what's been your favorite part about teaching at Rosary?
Honestly, like the very, very welcoming students. I'll give you a couple examples. So my first week here, probably actually my first day, I was standing outside my classroom over there, and then 2 girls came to say hello. And they had blue skirts, so I assumed that they were mine. And they're like, "Hi, welcome to Rosary. Like, let us know if you need anything." And I was like, "Oh, that's very nice. Like, you know, what period do I have you?" And they're like, "Oh, you don't have us, but we're just here to say hello." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's like
that's so sweet."
That was very sweet. And like I immediately felt like I was part of the community, right? And that carried on and like really, really like came to a nice symmetrical like moment at the end, like this week, with how like grateful and thankful so many, especially the juniors actually, so many of them were, right? And like you carry that with you. Like I'm excited to go back into an environment that's more similar to where I came from, but I know for a fact that like Rosary students are just sort of made differently. Like you present yourselves differently when you're out and about. Like I'm gonna be very blunt. Like you're not as stupid. I don't mean academically stupid, but like you know you'll see like many teenagers from different like walks of life who just don't have a certain social wherewithal that like Rosary students do, and that's a real blessing to experience.
What's one of your favorite Rosary traditions that you've like seen while being here?
Ooh,
or like been a part of?
That's a good question. The faculty has something called the Dummies. And it's an award ceremony, and I'm biased because I started that one.
Oh, that's so fun. It's kind of like the Dundies.
It's kind of like that's exactly what it's based
on. I love that.
A lot of people like Holiday Hopes. Like I think Holiday Hopes is fine.
I feel like there's a lot of other traditions that are also super good.
Yes. Let's see. Faculty-wise, like I love. Like I'm surprised I'm saying this, but every year I feel like in our department we constantly talk about summer reading, and I feel like I've just been so like exposed to that. That, like I've been like Stockholm syndromed.
Yeah, this year they're actually doing something different with it.
We are. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Honestly, you know what? Graduation has always been happy, and I know every school has graduation.
Yeah.
But I feel like in conjunction with the mass, and like getting to see people like grow up, like that's pretty great.
'Cause I feel like also that like that whole week it's just kind of dedicated to the graduation too.
Yeah, I mean, and it was something that initially, like, I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was like a little overbearing.
Yeah.
And I think we used to have even like more ceremonies, and I'm like, all right, let's. but once you get to know like the group that's actually graduating, you don't wanna let them go.
Yeah.
So graduation week, probably for sure.
What's something that's like very unique or special to Rosary that you'll miss?
I mentioned the students. This will not be like my single answer, but I went to a school board meeting for my new district. And like we started with the pledge and there was no prayer. And I'm like, I get why that happens. I'm not like triggered by that by any means, but I was like, oh, I will miss that like centering yourself with prayer. I think that is really important. It's not something I would like force on anybody, right?
Yeah.
But like you almost felt like missing something when you just started with like the pledge. The people, I mean, not like a specific thing, but I'll miss the people a lot. My department's awesome. Mrs. Biancalana is like the greatest mentor in the world, right? I think that's what I miss the most. People.
And then what's one thing that like maybe you've learned from or experienced at Rosary that you'll carry in like your future jobs or just in your future in general?
Yeah, you have to balance like your type A and your type B, right? Some people I feel like go too far one way or the other. Like you need organization, you need structure, because without it, you're just going to be like, you're going to feel like a dog, just like paddling everywhere, right? But you never know like what's going to surprise you during the day. And you need to be able to like pivot. You also need to be able to realize that some people just want to listen to you vent, right?
Yeah.
School is important, academics are important, but like above all, like people need to feel seen and they need to feel safe and they need to feel soothed, right? So like you just gotta be there for people.
Yeah. Okay. And then our last question.
Okay.
What message do you want everyone at Rosary to know as you're leaving?
That's a really good question.
This is the easiest.
You are really part of like a special community, right? We have a lot of tradition. We've had a lot of changes, right? But the fact is that like not just you at Rosary, but like the Aurora community and like the state, country, world in general, like does need like all girls environments. Like there's very, very special things that can happen here that can't happen elsewhere, and it's hard to like put your finger and name them, but you realize them once you experience what like quote unquote the normal world looks like.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta work to make this place fit like the needs of the world around you, and also like think about the people who are going to come after you and what you can do to like give them something that's going to make them better, so that they can keep a perpetual cycle of bettering. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and doing this interview.
Thank you.
We're gonna miss you at the newspaper, especially.
I'm gonna miss you too at the newspaper, but it's gonna be great next year. You're actually gonna have like a class.
I know. I'm excited for that
There'll
one.
be dedicated. There'll be dedicated time to like your
yeah.
newspaper stuff. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.